I traveled across oceans, lands, and across continents to come over here. I've spent over 5 months. And if I summarize my entire experience in 2 words, those 2 words will be HammetLabs. Being in Nigeria, growing up in Nigeria, created a limitation I did not know I needed to come out of. There was just a way I was seeing the world. It's like when you're wearing dark shades, you're not actually seeing the world for how it is. And I've been trying to be a businessman. I've been trying to be an entrepreneur for years. I've built a lot of businesses, but I didn't really get it until I left Nigeria, came outside of Nigeria, came to Asia. Then I started seeing the world differently. Let me show you what I mean. So one of the things we studied in network school here was Steve Jobs, his philosophy of building a company. Now, this is him in his own words, right? This is Steve Jobs in his own words. Let's just watch this video.
But it's just Steve Unfiltered talking for, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes. And so there's something he says in the interview that is very similar. That interview has been about 11 years, 12 years before this quote, where he's like, it's the act of making something with a great deal of care and love. So that is Steve's implicit advice to you, right? Actually care. Do you actually care about what you're putting out to the world? If you do, it'll show. Or you're just doing it just to make money. And what I love about Steve is no one's ever going to say this guy was supporting it. Right?
So Steve Jobs' philosophy is one of the best philosophies of building a business. And personally, I then realized that the entire reason I was in business, it's natural to a Nigerian because there's light issues, because there's fuel, you need to survive. So we usually build things for survival. But coming over here, I could see the difference with which founders of AI companies, I could see the difference with which they were building businesses. They were not building it for the money. The money is important, but it wasn't just for the money. In fact, that's why I quit Web3, because Web3 had given me this money-making mindset. I wanted to get clients, I wanted to get jobs. And you can't actually build something transgenerational that way. Let me just continue.
Real show. Or you're just doing it just to make money. And what I love about Steve is no one's ever going to say that this guy was supportive of it, right? And there's no reading his career where that's possible. And obviously he became incredibly wealthy, but it's the idea of, hey, I'm going to make something people love, something that's wonderful, and you'll see how much I care for the product that I make. And so in that talk, the opposite of this is something Steve hated. Steve hated where there's like no spirit, no taste, no humanity in the products. And so he was talking about...
I noticed in my life as well, I would usually just get clients, just get jobs, look for jobs. My life was not being invested in that thing because it wasn't my product, it wasn't my company. I think your own business, building a business from scratch is the best way to actually put your life into something. If you're not building a company as one of the founders, you don't really love the company. And so when you get a job, you're not putting your life, you're not putting your heart into the work. You're just doing it to get paid, just for the salary, And many a times, you can't build something that would last beyond you, to your children, something that would continue to last even after you have died. Do you know why we need to study Steve Jobs? It's because Apple has lasted beyond his, the guy has literally died. And we're seeing Apple continuing to grow and expand even in his death. Look at this. He hated Microsoft because Microsoft had, let me just play it.
So listen, Microsoft, you have to admire where they go. They're extremely aggressive and they just keep coming. They're great opportunists, and he said in the interview, that's not an insult. But he goes, I have a problem with their success. I have a problem that they make really third-rate products. Their products have no spirit to them. They are very pedestrian. They are McDonald's. That's the quote from Steve Jobs. And I'm glad I re-listened to that after I had to write this, and I'm like, oh, it's the exact same idea. It's just saying the opposite. Make something with a great deal of care and love. From the product that you're making to the company that you're building. It'll be obvious if you actually care. I think that's the advice that Steve would give us.
Let me also play this other one. Look at this other one.
Many of them multiple times, and I don't think I've ever come across this. This is excellent. And he says, think of your life as a rainbow arcing across the horizon of this world. You appear, have a chance to blaze in the sky, and then you disappear. And then another line that she said that made me think of something else. He gave an extraordinary amount of thought to how best to use our fleeting time.
So, over time, like in my stay at network school, I've come to realize that we only have one life, right? We only have one life, and I wouldn't want to use all of my life chasing money or, doing random things that my heart is not into. And so this philosophy made me admire Steve Jobs so much. I now wanted to find out, how did Steve Jobs start Apple? Why did he start that company? Of all companies he could have started, of all businesses he could have done, why did he start Apple as a company? Let me show you that one.
At Apple, his ideas and passion were inspiring. Steve's management style was divisive. right before Steve gets kicked out in 1984, he's working on the Macintosh, and I love what he said right here. He believed with everything. He also says this in that interview I watched, in addition to reading his book. He believed with everything in his bones that no matter what, every computer will be like this. To Steve, Macintosh was everything technology should be. It was streamlined and practical, simple and sophisticated, a tool for enhancing creativity as much as productivity. In another age, Steve believed the people on the Macintosh team would have been writers, musicians, or artists. Listen to how he talks. This is what he was talking about, where it's like you could tell people put a tremendous amount of love into what they're doing, and he really disdained people that did, like, they made a product that was just so pedestrian, had no taste, had no judgment. You just did it just to put something together so you can make a quick buck. He hated that, right? This is something Steve shares with, like, Enzo Ferrari. You go back and listen and read the biographies of Enzo Ferrari, or listen to the podcast I've done on Enzo Ferrari. Ferrari would describe his products the way you would describe your lover. And Steve, and to me, speaks very similar. This is now Steve, a direct quote from Steve. The feelings and the passion that people can turn a pile of money into an even bigger pile of money. There is an irrational love for the way, like, he approached the product that he made and the company that he built. And then ironically, these type of craftsmen usually wind up with the money anyways. He made jobs, and the way he approached product design, building his company. This is not spreadsheet thinking. He's not trying to make a product just so you can turn a pile of money into an even bigger pile of money. There is an irrational love for the way, like, he approached the product that he made and the company that he built. And then ironically, these type of craftsmen usually wind up with the money anyways. And then this is what I meant about, to him, it was just absolutely inevitable that the innovation they made with the Macintosh is going to change the way other people made computers.
If I continue playing this video for about 30-40 minutes, the video reaches a point where Steve Jobs spoke about why and how he started Apple. He started Apple by being in the future, living in the future, and trying to find out what did not exist. Let me show you.
Arcing across the horizon of this world. You appear, have a chance to blaze in the sky, and then you disappear. And then another line that she said that made me think of something else. He gave an extraordinary amount of thought to how best to use our fleeting time. I wrote, Steve was intolerant of slowness. This is a theme that has been reappearing over and over again on the podcast. And then when she wrote, his mind was never a captive of reality. Quite the contrary. He imagined what reality lacked and set out to remedy. His ideas were not arguments, but intuitions, born of a true inner freedom and an epic sense of possibility. That last line is so important, an epic sense of possibility. When I got to that part, it made me think of D. Hawk, the founder of Visa. He just passed away a few months ago. And I think if he was alive, he would give us this advice. It's advice that's in his autobiography and a lot of his writing, that you need to design your product, not for how things are, but how they ought to be.
How they ought to be. So I realized that businesses are built on these principles. Businesses utilize first mover advantage. They go build a product before other people catch up. They pick an industry and go build inside that industry before other people catch up. So later in life, in Steve Jobs' generation, when Steve Jobs was alive, in his younger days, 1984, there was nothing like computers. There was nothing like this. This laptop did not exist. There was nothing like phones. All these things were not in the world. So Steve Jobs and Apple have made a lot of money because they design products based on how things ought to be. So he knew that this guy should exist. Computers in those days were very big mainframe computers, but he wanted to make a PC, smaller. So if you really want to build a company, think of what is missing in the world that will make the world a better place. Like Uber, for example. Uber is built on the idea of getting people to ride other people through an app. Literally. Airbnb is built on getting people to host other people in their houses through an app. And so if you want to really build a tech company, find out what is missing in the world and create it, or something that will soon happen in the future, that will come to be in the future, and create it. And so I started Hammet simply because of this entire psychology of going into the future, finding out what the future would look like, and designing products that will fit into that future. Because the internet came, products like Facebook that were built at that time are now giants in this future. There was a time when computers did not exist. Apple built a computer, and because the computer now exists, internet could exist. And because internet now exists, Facebook could exist. Because Facebook exists, people would still need to order things. Amazon exists. Because Amazon exists, people would also need to order food. That's why we have Chowdeck. So you literally build products based on what is coming in the future. So I had to start doing a lot of research and asking a lot of questions. What will the future be like, so that I can build the next Facebook, the next Uber? So I asked a lot of questions, There was one particular day, we were having a discussion, myself and many of the founders, and in that discussion, I carefully asked the question. I told them, what do you guys think the future would look like? Because these guys were really smart people, intelligent people. So I wanted to find out what they are saying about the future. And guess what? They told me, in the future, everyone will have a clone. Everyone will have an AI clone. Right now, ChatGPT already writes emails for people. ChatGPT already automates a lot of work. And if you just check all other apps, many other apps are integrating AI. WhatsApp is integrating AI. Twitter is integrating AI. Facebook has its own AI. Instagram has its own AI. What all of these things mean is that AI is going to be able to do a lot of the work we are currently doing. So in the future of the world, humans won't work again. They won't work anymore. Tech will do a lot of the work for them. Just the same way tech is the one that finds your rides with both. Tech is the one that helps you order things from Jumia and Amazon. Tech is responsible for saving you a lot of time. Check it. The way you order food, almost everything in your life is now automated through tech. Saving you a lot of time you would have used to go out and, So in the future, it will continue that way. And that continuation means that very soon people won't write their emails by themselves. People won't create their tweets by themselves. People won't shoot their videos by themselves. People won't run their ads by themselves. The automations would run every single thing. And so every human would have a clone that does emails for them. Every human will have a clone. That is the discussion I was having with them. And they were just talking about it. In the next 10 years, humans would have a lot of free time. A lot of free time. Because emails will be written by AI. Just imagine all the things you do online. Every single thing. Your trades, your trading. Everybody will have an AI that trades for them. You are looking to do whatever you want to do. AI will do it. That's what the future looks like. And so I looked at myself as someone who has been passionate about education. What contribution can I bring to that future? And this is my contribution. I looked for a loop in education because I'm passionate about education. And so we created HammetLabs to be a participator in that future. In the future, education is going to also be automated. So HammetLabs is automating education. Look at this.
Between spot trading and futures trading?
No, I don't know the difference.
All right, let me break it down for you. Spot trading is when you buy or sell cryptocurrency directly at the current market price. For example, buying Bitcoin and holding it in your wallet. Futures trading, on the other hand, is trading contracts that predict the future price of crypto. You do not own the actual cryptocurrency, but you profit or lose based on the price movement. Does that make sense so far?
No, I don't really understand. Can you explain it in a more simpler way?
Sure. Spot trading is like buying something right now and owning it. Futures trading is like betting whether the price will go up or down in the future. In futures, you do not actually own anything. You just make profits or losses based on your bet. Better now?
Okay, yeah, I understand. Can you give me an example?
Of course. In spot trading, if Bitcoin's price is $30,000 and you buy one Bitcoin, you now own that Bitcoin. In futures trading, imagine you bet that Bitcoin's price will rise. If it goes up to $32,000, you make a profit based on the difference. But if it drops to $28,000, you lose money. See the difference?
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you very much.
So this is the future of AI in education. And what makes this really powerful is that people are becoming more and more busy, right? So AI, there's a gap. AI is needed to solve the educational dilemma that people are going through. For example, you want to learn from, just think of your favorite role model online. The person you've always wanted to learn from. But that person is so busy, he's so successful and so busy that he doesn't have time to teach you. So what if he creates or has a clone of himself like this? Let's say the name of let's just assume the name of your mentor is CryptLord, right? Just assuming, right? And this is you, your name is DevCoin. Now, wouldn't it be better to have your tutor as an available AI clone? So imagine, let me pick Dangote. If this person was Dangote, right? Dangote obviously is too busy to teach people. However, he can feed all his knowledge into an AI that will be ever present 24/7. Do you understand? So you can ask Dangote questions whenever you have questions. You can contact Dangote to answer your life's most pressing questions. What this means is that you as a person would not need your tutor to be present to learn from them. In the same way, in universities, for example, when we go to a school, one thing you notice about universities is that lecturers do not spend a lot of time with their students. What if there was a way for students to carry their lecturers home with them? All of the knowledge, all of the understanding the lecturers have can be fed into an AI that teaches you, so you don't even have to go to school to learn from your lecturer. How long did you spend with your lecturers anyway? Most times, lecturers don't even attend classes. But if you have an AI clone of your lecturer, then you can learn from that lecturer 24/7. Even if the lecturer spends only 1 hour with you daily. Although that 1 hour is not enough for you to learn what you want to learn from that lecturer, so long as you have the clone, you can always ask the clone your questions and learn from the clone. So the AI tutors are like the future of the world, and that's why I'm building HammetLabs. That's essentially why I'm building HammetLabs, to fill that gap in the future.